Hello, good morning. This is Amy with Notes from Past Amy. Welcome back to the table. I have a new pen today. Well, new to me. It is not a new pen. I found it on Reddit last Friday. And once you see the list of all of my influencers, yes, it's my fault, but I blame all of you. Not really, of course, but you definitely influenced this. I did open it yesterday, and the tablet died midway through my unboxing and reviewing and such, so I used it. It's open. Sorry, I put it back in the box for you. Here it is. Estie Purple Silver Trim Fountain Pen in a fine. Don't know what this part at the beginning means. This is from a few years ago. This is not a new release color or anything like that. It is from either 2019 or 2020. A couple sources said different things. According to one, it was released in May of 2019, and then another place, they said, yeah, we're having trouble getting some of that resin for the specific color, and it's going to be January of 2020 when it gets released. So maybe both dates, maybe one, maybe the other. It's not that important. I was just a little bit curious since I was looking that up for all my other pens last week. So here it is, Esterbrook, as you knew by the Estie. And as you maybe saw by the ends of the box, they are very, very soft. It is magnetic. I've been seeing this everywhere, so yes, I understand you've probably seen this everywhere too. Same box, and this is the lilac. That is really fun. For some reason, it didn't occur to me till I took it out of the box and was looking at it that there are no bands on it until you open the pen. And when you open it, then you get the silver bands. When it's capped, you just get the clip. So this is the lilac, and I really wanted to compare it to my LeBouf with the cracked ice finish, but it is out of town right now. It just landed in California for nib work, so I don't have it. I'm pretty sure the LeBouf is more like the blueberry cracked ice pattern, but I can't actually compare it. Look, this is the ink I've got in here. Made a tiny mess yesterday while I was filling. So I will look at that probably 3 months when it arrives back in my hands. The poppy cushion cap is fun. I have to figure out how to make it work without squeaking and making a sound because that's super annoying. But you can see the inner cap in there, maybe cushion cap. And I put in, since this is called Lilac, I put in Lilac Night Diamine. A lot of diamine, but that's okay. It keeps it affordable, and then I can try different colors. So there are the silver bands. I like seeing those. We'll do a side-by-side, but this is very, very, very similar to my Le Bon 325. And it doesn't screw right there. See, squeaky. I need to put some silicone grease on that. Branded converter, Esterbrook. It's very, very shiny. Maybe you can see that, maybe you can't. And this is a standard fill for me, about 40%. Fine nib, and I love that it's a little bit older because it doesn't have that giant rounded X on it. I do not like that. I think it's very, very ugly. I would never leave that as a comment on your new pen video. Pretty body, or I actually really don't like that color body. Like, who knows? Whatever my honest opinion is. No, I'm gonna be like, congrats. I hope you really enjoy your new pen. Whatever. Thanks for showing it to us. What? It's fine. If you like it, you like it. I do not like that big X on there. And this is an older one, so it does not have that giant X. I really like the figure of whatever, the pattern on here. It says Esterbrook, got the original date that Esterbrook started pens, and or company was founded or whatever, and then the F for fine, and then it's just got the scroll work and the outline. It's very pretty. I like that. Kind of simple, but I really like that. So I am happy that it does not have the giant X on it. I'm happy that it's purple. That is my favorite of all of the colors. I'm going to set it here. Capped, it basically goes end to end because it's about 6 inches, and that's what this tray is. And then let's grab a couple more. Here's the Le Bon. It matches very, very well, and then we'll uncap this one too. Look, almost exactly the same. This is a teeny tiny bit longer. Teeny tiny bit. But this one shows more of the nib, so they almost balance out by the time you get to the end. Yeah. The way this one threads on, you don't see these bands at all. The way this cap threads on, you see both of them, I think. Yeah, you do. This one has a bunch of bands on it. So if you don't like the bands, this one. If you love bands, there you go. Both of them come in a lot of different colors. Here's something that probably everyone has. If you don't have this one, maybe a safari. I've got several safaris and several of the all-stars. I like to have fun with my nibs on those. I can't actually use them for like a long time because of the grip. It's okay. I make it work. I usually set, okay, just don't think about it. Something like, it's a little awkward. That, I think that's how I do it. So the thumb is basically on this flat part. What do we call this? Finger 2 is what I've always called it for music. Yep, pointer finger, I think is his name, goes on top, and then this is just kind of on the side, the third one. And that's how I use it. It works okay, but it's not like wonderfully comfortable. But it's great to try the 1.1 stub or 1.5, 1.9, whatever. They're great for shimmer inks and such too, so I like having them. Those are all about the same. I just prefer the grips on these ones instead of the triangular grip of the Safari / All-Star. And then I've got a couple bigger pens like this, and my Miura and my Monteverde Giant Sequoia. They are 5.5 inches, so they're going to be longer. Grips are actually quite similar. I'm going to hold them all right here, I bet. I know I hold that one at the end of the black. This one I hold up here, so probably the same with the Esterbrook. Just something I'll have to play with a little bit. This is basically the exact same size. See? I like that. This is my favorite grip, because then I actually hold it right here. But that's the only pen I found it on. So there we go. That's how they compare. I don't have a lot of like standard pens. I guess I do have a Kaweco 2.3. Ooh, that's not as long. Okay, well, there we go. So it's a little bit longer than these three. And I do technically have a Pilot right here, Metropolitan, somewhere. This thing is way too narrow for me. It's painful, but it's so cute and it writes so well. It's shorter. It's so thin, but it's my first pen, and I don't want to sell it and then be like, yeah, I sold my first pen, because we already did that with quilts, and thankfully I got my first quilt back since my best friend's mother had bought it. There we go. You can see that nib, but it's dark. So here we go. Bring the lights back up. And I did get that back, but that was kind of a lesson on selling your first of a hobby. Maybe it's not the best idea. So I do still have it. It's fine for a quick note, but it is very painful if I use it for a long session. Then I think you know not to do that. What were you thinking? Why did you do that? That was dumb. So this is empty. I'm just going to put it back in the drawer. That's kind of how they compare. Now, why did I go ahead and get an Estie? You saw my comment, I think it was one of Simone's videos. I said I probably was not going to get an Estie because they're like $200, and I couldn't see myself loving it. I watched a review by, who was it by? Inquiring Minds. He had an Estie review that showed 4 different Esties in the standard size and the oversize, and based on that review, which was very informative, I came to the conclusion that oversize was probably best for me. And then this one showed up on Reddit. It was not an oversize. Knowing the price of the oversize, I wasn't going to get it. It was fine. The purple was a thing of the past. Like, I like the new Botanical Garden, but I think that's way outside my $100 price range. So I just started watching all these videos on YouTube about them, and most of them are quite recent. Now, the one by Mystery Arts showing her entire Esterbrook collection, is not super recent. It's like a year old. It was called Esterbrook Pen Collection. Yeah, that was cool. I've seen that one a couple of times. It's from February of 2022. But I saw a lot of other people posting Estie videos. The Ginger Ninja has a Scarlet, and then in March she got a Rainforest. Sean Plans showed shorts unboxing a candy in March and a cola just a couple weeks ago. Charmaine got Botanical Gardens April 22nd. Ginger Peachy Pens, as we all know, has the candy, and a honeycomb, which Simone reviewed back in April on the 11th. Then Karina won that giveaway, got the Noveo Blue March 26th, which also meant Katie's Craft Studio won a pen, an Estie, and she picked the Sea Glass and posted that video on March 29th. Then Marcy Me got a Petrified Forest, that was posted May 7th. Simone got a Sea Glass May 16th, I think that's where I left the comment when she compared it to her Benu. And then Dandelion Diaries got a Tortoise May 17th, the very next day. And Karina Loves to Plan, Petrified Forest, on May 20th. This one I actually purchased on May 19th. So it was just before all those Estie videos had finished. But I did make a list because I playfully blame all of you who showed all those gorgeous Esties and got me thinking, well, maybe it would be okay, even though it's kind of small and I didn't think originally it was the perfect size. Well, you know, you influenced me. It isn't the perfect size. It's a little bit small, like the Le Bon, but I think it's going to be okay. I wasn't having trouble last night. I just stack up my fingers to kind of make up for the difference of this being a little bit smaller, and it works. I mean, I do that all the time with ballpoints and gel pens that I use for work and such, so it's okay. Yes, I am transferring over to a pen like this for work, but I do want to use up my gel pens, so just getting that done. There we go. How does it write? Well, if you wanted any of that list, here you go. Esterbrook Estie Lilac Fine. I have Diamine Lilac Night in it. Here's that favorite review by Inquiring Minds. And then I wrote Estie Saga. Here's the collection video. Some that I saw, didn't really think much about. And then a whole list that were very influential. So, let's write down today. This is May 24th. I think yesterday was the 23rd. Yes, 24th, 2023. You just want to see it right. So what am I going to write? It's just a lilac. Esterbrook Estie Lilac. Fine nib. And it's not 18 karat or 14 karat or anything like that. It's just steel. Fine nib steel, sure. Looks a little empty, so let's add another word there. Yeah, there we go. I did this part on the 23rd, so let's add that in there. And that's going to be kind of my documentation. When I get a new pen, I always write it in here as well. What pen number is this? Whatever goes next. I've been selling pens, so this was actually purchased with Pen Funds. Sneak peek from Birthday Pen. I'm pretty sure it goes right here. Yeah, it does. So yeah, Pen Funds from selling old pens that just were too small and I couldn't make work. And I'm going to put 23 because that's when I actually put the ink in here. Esterbrook Estie. Lilac. Diamine. I only have one, so I don't need a whole bunch of identifying features. Lilac Night. Yeah. I also have lilac satin, so I had to double check that. Ta-da! It's a dark, matches this dark bit, which is actually a little bit blue. So I'm pretty sure it's different than the LeBouf. I just can't put them side by side. See? This one also went off for nib work. it's just too big, and yeah, I don't like it. I love that one. Don't like this one. Those are staying the way they are, getting sold. That's the other one that's off for nib work. There. Yep. Because it came with a tine that's longer than the other. This side was longer than that side. Noticeably so. You didn't even have to put it under a loop. And so I got it where it's writing, obviously. It's okay, but you have to turn the pen. You can't just write like this. You have to go like that for it to write. So that's not super wonderful. I didn't like having to remember to turn it and do all these special things with the one pen. So I sent it in for some nib work too. That's supposed to be a crisp metallic. Yes, I also have a LaBeouf in navy pearl. And this birthday pen is going to be a journaler's nib, and the broad is going to be a, what does she call it? Perspective. So that's gonna be expensive when it gets done, but I was selling pens to pay for that. No, I gotta sell a few more, but that's okay. I am happy to try this pen. I didn't think it was ever gonna happen, especially for $75, but yeah, I'm so glad I jumped on it when I saw it. It helps that it had only been up for 7 minutes, so I was the first person. They had great prices on all their pens, but most of them were black. I think maybe there was a yellow and a red, blacks, and then this purple was definitely the odd man out. So happy to snap this up. Now I have the very cool Esterbrook box, the Esterbrook Experience, and you'll be seeing this one around. So thanks for watching. Hope you found this useful, and I will see you again next time. Bye.